When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you notice the things you love about yourself, or do you zero in on the imperfections, the parts of you that you wish you could change? So many of us fall into the trap of believing that perfection is the ultimate goal, that only when we've fixed everything that's wrong with us will we be truly beautiful, lovable, or worthy. But what if I told you that your imperfections, those very things you're trying to change, are not flaws to be hidden? What if those imperfections are actually the unique traits that make you beautiful? We live in a society obsessed with perfection. From airbrushed images on social media to endless products and advice on how to improve ourselves, the message is loud and clear. We're supposed to be flawless. We're expected to fit a certain mold of beauty, success, and happiness. And when we don't meet those standards, we often feel like we're not enough. But here's the truth. Perfection doesn't exist. Even if it did, it would be boring. What makes each of us beautiful, unique, and worthy are often the very things we consider flaws. The pursuit of perfection is exhausting. It's a moving target, constantly shifting with society's ever-changing standards. One moment, the ideal is a slim figure. The next, it's curves. One year, straight hair is in, and the next, it's all about embracing waves and curls. Trends come and go, but the pressure to conform remains constant. And the message we internalize is simple. You are not good enough as you are. Perfection, by its very definition, implies there's no room for improvement, no space for growth. It's static, unchanging, and quite frankly, boring. If you were perfect, what would you have to strive for? What would make you interesting, different, or memorable? The parts of you that you see as flawed, the ones you try to hide or fix, are often the very things that make you unique and beautiful. Take a moment to think about the people you love most in your life. Chances are you don't love them because they're perfect. You love them for their quirks, their imperfections, the little things that make them who they are. Maybe it's the way your friend laughs a little too loudly, or the way your partner's smile is slightly crooked. Maybe it's the scar that tells a story, or the freckles that sprinkle across a loved one's face. These flaws are the things that make them real, human, and deeply lovable. The same is true for you. Your so-called flaws are not shortcomings. They're unique traits that set you apart from everyone else. They are what make you, you. Maybe you have a birthmark that you've always been self-conscious about, or you think your nose is too big, or your teeth aren't straight enough. But those traits are part of your identity. They're part of the story that only you can tell. There's a Japanese concept called kintsugi, which means golden repair. It's the art of mending broken pottery by filling the cracks with gold, turning something that was once damaged into something even more beautiful. Instead of hiding the cracks, kintsugi highlights them, embracing the imperfections as part of the object's unique history. The philosophy behind kintsugi teaches us that our flaws and scars are part of our story, and they deserve to be embraced, not hidden. Just like kintsugi, the parts of you that you consider broken or flawed are what make you one of a kind. They are the golden seams in the tapestry of your life, adding beauty and depth to your story. We often think that our imperfections make us less valuable, but the truth is, they are what give us character. Those cracks in your life, whether they are emotional scars, physical traits, or life experiences, are a testament to your resilience and uniqueness. Think about that for a moment. What if you embraced your imperfections the way kintsugi embraces the cracks in pottery? What if you saw your flaws not as something to hide, but as something to celebrate? Your imperfections tell a story of resilience, of growth, of life. They are part of what makes you unique, and that's something to be proud of. One of the biggest culprits in our obsession with perfection is social media. We're constantly bombarded with images of seemingly perfect people living seemingly perfect lives. Flawless skin, perfect bodies, dreamy vacations. Everywhere we look, we're presented with a curated version of reality that makes us feel like we don't measure up. But social media is a highlight reel. It's not real life. The people you see online are just as flawed, just as human as you are. They have bad days, insecurities, and imperfections, just like you. What you see on social media is the result of filters, editing, and careful curation. It's not the whole picture. So the next time you find yourself comparing your life or your appearance to someone else's on social media, take a step back and remind yourself that what you're seeing is not reality. It's a carefully crafted image designed to look perfect. And perfection, as we've already discussed, is an illusion. Think about nature for a moment. Picture the most beautiful landscapes you've ever seen: towering mountains, vast forests, or stunning sunsets. Are they perfect? Do they follow straight lines and flawless symmetry? Of course not. The beauty of nature lies in its imperfections. Rugged edges, uneven terrain, asymmetrical shapes, and unpredictable colors all contribute to what makes these scenes so breathtaking. No mountain is perfectly smooth, no river flows in a straight line, and no tree grows without twists or turns. And yet, we find them captivating because of their raw, unpolished beauty. The same is true for us as human beings. Our flaws, our quirks, our scars, our differences are what give us character and depth. They are the unique marks that make us who we are, and that's where true beauty lies. Just as nature's landscapes are enhanced by their imperfections, so too are we. Society often tells us that beauty is about perfection, about fitting into a specific mold, about hiding what makes us different. But if nature teaches us anything, it's that perfection is not the goal. The most extraordinary things in life are the ones that break the mold, that stand out because they are different. Your imperfections, the parts of yourself that you might try to hide or change, are what set you apart from everyone else. They are the marks of a life lived, of experiences had, of lessons learned. Take scars, for example. Whether they're physical or emotional, scars tell a story. They are reminders of challenges faced and overcome. A scar on your skin may remind you of a time you fell, but it also shows that you healed. Similarly, emotional scars are proof of resilience and growth. They're not something to be ashamed of. They're a testament to your strength. In the same way that the jagged edges of a mountain make it more striking, your imperfections make you more human, more relatable, and more real. Quirks, too, are what make us unique. Maybe you have an infectious laugh, or you get overly excited about small things, or you have a habit of saying things in a particular way. These little traits, the things that make you you, are often the very things that endear you to others. They show that you're not trying to be like everyone else. You're embracing who you are with all your unique characteristics. Instead of striving for some unattainable idea of perfection, embrace your flaws. Just like the most stunning landscapes in nature, your imperfections are what make you beautiful. They add depth, character, and richness to who you are. And just as we find beauty in the ruggedness of a mountain or the asymmetry of a sunset, we can find beauty in ourselves when we learn to appreciate our uniqueness. One of the biggest myths we've been sold is that beauty equals perfection. We see this everywhere, from airbrushed photos in magazines to filtered selfies on social media. The message is clear. Beauty is defined by flawless skin, symmetrical features, and an impossible standard of perfection. But what if we flip that idea on its head? What if true beauty is found in our imperfections? Think about it for a moment. What makes you unique? Is it the slight crookedness of your smile, the way your eyes crinkle when you laugh, or the stories your scars tell? Your skin might not be flawless, and your body might not fit into society's narrow definition of perfect. But these are the things that make you, you. They are part of your story and your individuality, and no one else in the world has your exact combination of traits. That's something to celebrate, not hide. Perfection is often portrayed as something we should all strive for, but here's the truth. Perfection is boring. It's predictable, lifeless, and unattainable. When we chase perfection, we lose what makes us unique. Our so-called imperfections give us character and depth. They make us stand out in a world where everyone is trying to look the same. Consider the people you love and admire. Is it their flawless appearance that draws you to them, or is it their quirks and little imperfections that make them endearing? Perhaps it's the way they can't help but laugh at their own jokes, or the passion they have for something completely random. It's those details, those imperfections, that make them unforgettable. The same goes for you. Your imperfections are part of what makes you beautiful. Beauty doesn't mean conforming to a set of impossible standards. It's about embracing what makes you different. It's about owning the features that might not be perfect by societal standards, but are perfect because they're yours. Your beauty lies in your individuality, in the unique combination of traits that no one else possesses. When we stop viewing imperfections as flaws to be fixed and start seeing them as marks of individuality, we open ourselves up to a deeper, more meaningful kind of beauty. This beauty doesn't depend on makeup, filters, or fitting into someone else's idea of what's attractive. It comes from within, from embracing who we are, flaws and all. We all have insecurities. Whether it's something about our appearance or a part of our personality, we tend to focus on what we believe to be our flaws. But what if those so-called imperfections are actually what make us beautiful? Embracing imperfection isn't about settling for less. It's about realizing that perfection was never the goal in the first place. The idea that we must be flawless to be beautiful is a myth. Perfection is not only unattainable, but it also strips away what makes us unique. When we let go of the belief that we need to fix ourselves to be worthy, we free ourselves to appreciate our own beauty in its raw, authentic form. Think about the people you admire most. Chances are, it's not their perfection that draws you to them, but their authenticity. Their willingness to show up as they are, with all their quirks and flaws, makes them relatable, human, and truly beautiful. The same is true for you. Your flaws don't diminish your worth, they enhance it, adding layers to who you are. When we shift our mindset to embrace our imperfections, we begin to see them not as something to be fixed, but as something to be celebrated. Every crack, every scar, and every so-called flaw tells a story. These are the things that make you different from everyone else, and in that difference lies your beauty. So, how do you start embracing your imperfections? It's a process that requires patience, practice, and most importantly, self-compassion. Learning to accept your flaws rather than fight them opens the door to a more authentic and fulfilling relationship with yourself. Here's how to begin. 1. Start with self-compassion. The first and most essential step is to practice self-compassion. Too often, we are our own harshest critics, scrutinizing our perceived shortcomings and flaws, magnifying them in ways we'd never do to someone else. But here's the thing. You deserve the same kindness and understanding you offer to others. When you catch yourself being overly critical, pause and ask yourself a simple question. Would I say this to someone I love? More often than not, the answer is no. You wouldn't tell your best friend, you'll never be good enough, or why can't you just be perfect? So why say it to yourself? Start by recognizing when these negative thoughts arise and gently redirect them. Instead of berating yourself, offer a more compassionate response, such as, I'm doing the best I can, or it's okay to not be perfect. Self-compassion means accepting that you are human. Mistakes, imperfections, and struggles are all part of that experience. When you're kind to yourself in the face of your flaws, you create space for healing, growth, and, most importantly, self-acceptance. Step 2. Surround yourself with positive influences. We live in a world where comparison is almost inevitable. Social media, advertisements, and even the people around us often seem to send the message that we need to look or act a certain way to be worthy of love and happiness. But it's important to remember that no one's life is as perfect as it appears online. Behind every curated photo or achievement is a person with insecurities and challenges, just like you. To start embracing your imperfections, be mindful of the influences you allow into your life. Surround yourself with people who lift you up rather than tear you down. Follow social media accounts that promote body positivity, mental health awareness, and self-acceptance rather than those that reinforce unrealistic standards of beauty or success. Unfollow or mute accounts that make you feel bad about yourself. Instead of comparing yourself to others, shift your focus inward. What are the qualities you love about yourself? What makes you unique? When you concentrate on the things that make you feel good about who you are, you begin to appreciate your uniqueness rather than see it as a flaw. This shift in perspective allows you to cultivate a more positive and nurturing relationship with yourself. Number 3, recognize that everyone has insecurities. One of the most liberating realizations you can have is that everyone has insecurities. No one is immune to self-doubt, not even the people you think have it all together. The person you envy for their confidence might secretly struggle with feelings of inadequacy, just as you do. We often believe that other people's lives are perfect because we only see what they choose to show us, but everyone has their own battles. Recognizing this simple truth can be incredibly freeing. It helps you realize that you're not alone in feeling imperfect or flawed. Once you understand that imperfection is a universal experience, you can begin to see your own flaws with more compassion and less judgment. Practice gratitude. One of the most powerful ways to embrace your imperfections is to practice gratitude. Instead of focusing on what you think you lack, shift your attention to what you already have. Gratitude rewires your brain to seek out the positive aspects of your life, making it easier to see the beauty in both yourself and the world around you. Start by taking a few moments each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for, whether it's your health, your friendships, or a skill you've developed over time. Include your unique traits in this list. Maybe it's your sense of humor, your ability to listen, or the way you care for others. Over time, you'll begin to notice that the very things you once saw as imperfections are actually the things that make you special. Gratitude also helps you develop a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. When you're constantly focused on what you lack, it's easy to feel inadequate, but when you appreciate what you have, you begin to see that you are already enough, flaws and all. Number 5, embrace the power of imperfection. One of the most powerful lessons we can learn is that imperfection is not the enemy of beauty. It's what makes life interesting and meaningful. Perfection is a static, unattainable concept, but imperfection is dynamic and real. It's in our quirks, our scars, and our differences that we find depth, character, and resilience. I'll consider the Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is mended with gold. Instead of trying to hide the cracks, kintsugi highlights them, turning the object into something even more beautiful than it was before. This philosophy teaches us that our flaws and scars are not things to be ashamed of, but part of our story, what makes us unique. In the same way, the things you might see as imperfections are the golden seams in your life. They tell your story, reflect your experiences, and showcase your resilience. They are what make you human, and there is nothing more beautiful than embracing your full humanity, imperfections, and all. 6. Celebrate your progress. Finally, as you embark on the journey of embracing your imperfections, take time to celebrate your progress. Personal growth is not a linear path, and there will be days when it feels like you've taken a step backward. That's okay. The important thing is that you're moving forward, even if it's at a slower pace than you'd like. Acknowledge the small victories along the way. Maybe you catch yourself being kinder in your self-talk, or perhaps you resist the urge to compare yourself to someone else. These moments matter. They are proof that you're learning to accept and love yourself, imperfections and all. You are more than the sum of your imperfections. You are a whole, complex, and beautiful human being, worthy of love, acceptance, and happiness just as you are. Remember, the journey to self-acceptance isn't about erasing your flaws. It's about embracing them as part of your unique story. So today, I challenge you to look at yourself differently. Instead of focusing on what you think needs to be fixed, look for the things that make you stand out. Embrace the quirks, the scars, and the imperfections, because they are what make you, you. You don't need to be perfect to be beautiful. You just need to be yourself. Thank you for joining me today on Authentic Self. If this message resonated with you, be sure to hit that like button, share this video with someone who might need a reminder of their own beauty, and of course, subscribe for more empowering content. Remember, you are enough, and your imperfections only add to your beauty. Until next time, take care of yourself and embrace the beauty in your imperfections.